Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who deserve double honors. Um, Salutations also go out to fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect, all right, across the four corners of the earth. This is Nama, the DC camp. And this article I found interesting solely because who escaped. All right. Anyway, this is from Arts and Culture of via Newsweek. It says 4 brave American airmen were brutally butchered for cannibalistic purposes in the gruesome Chichinjima incident. All right, and as probably guessed by now, yes, we're talking about World War II. Again, we're talking about the Ammonites, so-called Japanese. All right, who are enemies of Israel. All right. Continuing on, it says many Allied soldiers who captured during World War II suffered brutal torture and execution at the hands of the Japanese. One of the most harrowing tales reported was the gruesome, I'm going to pronounce this best I can, Chichijima incident that took place on the tiny island of Chichijima, located around 600 miles from Japan. Damn. All right. So yesterday I did a video about the infamous Unit 731, where they did a lot of experiments. Everybody wants to talk about the hollow hoax. All right. But yeah, they actually did do these things here in Japan. All right. And these some wicked, evil, nasty mother effers. All right. It says instead of opting for a full-scale invasion of the island, the U.S. decided to conduct bombing raids over the island. All right. Per reports, over 100 airmen were shot down and at least 20 were captured by the Japanese. All right, now here's my point. It says in 1944, 9 airmen were shot down during a raid, out of which only one, future American President George H.W. Bush, managed to escape alive. His 8 other fellow airmen who were captured were destined for a horrible fate. Damn. I mean, one would have to question as to how he was the only one that got away, but hey, continuing on. While all 8 were executed, 4 of them were butchered in order to be served as meals to the Japanese officers. Even though Japanese officers were found guilty of murder and prevention of honorable burial after their war, the details were not made public until James Bradley's 2004 book, Flyboys. And as I mentioned in the video about Unit 731, all the U.S. was interested in was getting the information from the experiments, just as they did Operation Paperclip with the Germans. All right. Damn shame. You know, these supposed to be what they call them, the greatest generation. And someone, Jake, sister had done an article. I forgot. I was gonna make a video about that if I can find it. And she was had made the point about all the shit that our people went through serving in the war and at the hands of the so-called greatest generation, you know. So it's like, fuck them. Anyway, so the horrifying tragedy of the Allied prisoners who were victims of cannibalism was described in this book, as this excerpt explains. In his book, Flyboys, A True Story of Courage, James Bradley details several instances of cannibalism of World War II Allied prisoners by their Japanese captors. The author claims that this included not only ritual cannibalization of the livers of freshly killed prisoners, but also the cannibalization for sustenance of living prisoners over the course of several days, amputating limbs only as needed to keep the meat fresh. What should come to mind, if you all have ever seen the movie, is The Road, where when Vito Morganson, when they snuck into the house, and they found that they had this basement And they had these people down there, butt naked, and they were missing limbs. And that's the exact thing they're describing here, what they did. It says the men who lost their lives to this atrocity were Marv Mershon, Floyd Hall, Jimmy Dye, and Warren Earl Vaughn. Per Bradley's book, the Japanese Army and Navy commanders of the island partook in cannibalism not only to show the Americans who were the boss, but also for the alleged physical and spiritual benefits, as this excerpt explains. It says General Yoshio Tachibana and Rear Admiral Kunizo Morai, the Army and Navy commanders of the island, were two notable participants in the acts of cannibalism. 4 American airmen were executed for the purpose of being partially consumed, with flesh being removed from their thighs and their livers being served as delicacies. That's some Hannibal Lecter shit, huh? On Chichijima, the guilty officers committed cannibalism for both alleged physical and spiritual benefits, as well as further showing dominance over their captives as revenge for American air raids. While 30 Japanese soldiers were prosecuted at a war crimes trial held in 1947, and 4 officers were executed by hanging for crimes committed, reports indicate that all other enlisted men were released within 8 years. Wow. These heathen pieces of shit. This is why it says here in the second book of the law, we go to Deuteronomy 23 and 3, and it says an Ammonite, which we're talking about here, call them today Japanese or Moabite, their brothers, the so-called Chinese, shall not enter into the congregation of the Most High Yahweh. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. Why? Because they met you, verse 4, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee on behalf of the so-called Asians. All right. Balak, king of the Moabites. All right. So, let's go into, let's see, verse 3. Let's go into the commentary. 10th generation shall they, it says, let's see. Wow. Now, I don't know. That's why you have to be careful with these commentaries and things of this nature. All right. It goes on. I'm going to skip down under even to their 10th generation. I'm going to start after it says in the parentheses 2 Kings 10 and 2. It says, many of the Israelites being established on the east side of Jordan in the immediate neighborhood of those people, the Most High raised this partition wall between them to prevent the consequences of evil communications. More favor was to be shown to Edomites and Egyptians, to the former from their near relationship to Israel, and to the latter from their early hospitalities to the family of Jacob, as well as the many acts of kindness rendered them by private Egyptians at the Exodus. All right. Yeah, you got to watch this. But actually, that's not what I wanted. But anyway, let's see. It calls them a bastards, or they're bastards. They are. None more so than Edom. That's why I said when I read that paragraph down there, you got to be careful, because who's writing these? All right. Let's see. Here it is, number 3 here. That's what I was trying to find. It says, Ammonites and Moabites, without provocation, they had combined to engage a soothsayer, which I just read in Deuteronomy 23, to curse the Israelites, and had further endeavored by ensnaring them into the guilt and licentious abominations of idolatry, to seduce them from their allegiance to the Most High. Yahweh. Yahweh about you, man. I was shot. All right. So this is what they did. So they are not uh, ever going to be part of the congregation. All right, like I say, they are bastards. They're heathen, actual heathen. All right. The act of, wow, I'm just thinking about this. But you know what? Having said that, this shit is coming back. All right, and this manufactured famine, I hope you're paying attention to what's going on. Everybody's distracted about this Kanye and Kyrie Irving bullshit. In the meantime, you got to remember, less than 2 weeks from now, this Executive Order 14067 goes into effect. That was signed back in March by Joe Biden. All right, with the digital currency. Supposedly they're experimenting. All right, and as usual, he just signed something about this potential railway strike, which, when you think about it, coupled with the diesel fuel as it is, that would really cripple us. Not to mention, also with the tractor trailers. But you got to remember, a whole lot of goods go through rail, and then you got the situation with the Mississippi River, with it being so low that the barges can't, or the ships and the barges can't, but anyway, and everybody's forgotten about, LA, with what happened with all that merchandise that was just kept offshore there. You never hear about that now. So it's like these things are going to come back to bite in a big way while everybody's being distracted. This is how they roll. All right, all these distractions. You got everybody paying attention to the sports teams, all this bullshit. All right, and the bottom is fitting to fall out. You have Jim Rickards, all these financial gurus. They've been warning you that this shit is going to collapse. A lot of them have moved out the country years ago. All right, because they see this country's just been kept afloat through artificial means. This quantitative easing bullshit and all this. Just to keep it up, because they have to do away with this system in order to bring in a new one. That digital and all. It's all about control, people. All about control. All right. That's why the scriptures also say, Matthew 6 chapter and 20. Lay your treasures. Let me get it. All right. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through to steal. All right? All these warnings, these scriptures that warn you. All right? Your money is not going to save you. Your gold and silver is not going to save you. For those of you that have the idea, well, it's too late for that now. You don't know what you're getting now. It could be tungsten overlaid with, whatever. All right. This man is all about, that's why he is the wicked. You cannot trust him, as the scriptures say, never trust your enemy. All right, you're not only talking about Esau, he's, Edom, the nation of Edom, descendants of Esau. He's the main one, but all these other nations hate us. Hence, Psalms 83rd chapter. That's the Most High's hit list, I'll put it that way. All right, starting with verse 6 there. Because everybody conspired. That chapter there is all about the conspiracy against our people. All right, and it gives you a runoff of all the ones that did it. Now, vast majority of them are Shemites. Get a load of that. Get a load of that. Hey, so I didn't want to take too long on this, but that's why these bastards, these some cruel little motherfuckers. Don't sleep on. Everybody comes over here, they, want to prosper off of us. And these so-called white people, these Edomites, they set it up that way. Everybody comes over here, they set up shop in the hood so as to keep us from prospering and building up generational wealth. It's no accident that this happens. All right? None whatsoever. Remember the curses, Deuteronomy 28th chapter, from 43 on down, what I'm talking about there. The stranger that should get it. In fact, let me get it. Let's see. 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Got to get up out of here. And those that don't want to, they're standing in the way. Talking about 2/3. They're holding up progress. This man will never, knowing the history since we've been here. A lot of people think and falsely so, think that we made such vast improvement and progress since the end of chattel slavery. Nope. I got my book over there. Tells you we just been treading water ever since 1865. That's it. That means there's something happening. There's things in place that are doing this. This just isn't by happenstance. All right. You got to remember, after the Civil War, a lot of stuff happened. You had the establishment of a so-called Freedmen's Bureau. Then you had Reconstruction. And then you had these amendments that were passed exclusively for us, by the way. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. And then you had Jim Crow. And these things, especially that, was created, what? Intimidation, to terrorize, to keep us from exercising the vote. That's why the 15th Amendment came in. And then after that, all the towns that we had, well, even before then, really, but all the towns, I'm talking about since we've been here on this side, all the towns that we built, they were destroyed for often petty reasons, real petty. All right. And you got to look at this. After all the very harsh treatment, you got to remember who were those that brought us over here. These were the so-called Jewish. They were behind the slave trade. They don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. You can call it anti-whatever. And they seem to do that when you come out with the truth about these devils. But no worry, the truth's going to come out regardless. All right? And we're here to help it to do so. That's 2 Corinthians 10, verses 4 and 5. Breaking down these strongholds, these lies. Give it the respect that it deserves. These lies that have been told. All right? And people are starting to see this now, if they haven't already. So, yeah, things are happening at such a fast pace now. This thing could kick off at any moment. That's why we always say, stay prayed up, because it could go to hell in a handbasket, just like that. So with that, I didn't want to stay here, I don't want to get to rambling and all that, but once again, we've been talking about these beasts here, all right, that went Hannibal to cannibal on these prisoners, American and others, yeah, Russians too. Yeah. So as I said last night with the Unit 731, I said, and you wonder why the bomb was dropped. All right. This is some savage ass shit, But do you hear people talking about stuff like? Do you hear them keep throwing it up in their faces? Nope. You should. But they reserve that for us, bring up shit, from when you were like 8 or 9, whatever. Well, he was a bedwetter when he go to court until he was like 8 years old or some shit like that. Just to demean and humiliate you. This is the shit that's reserved for us. Another one of those things about being under the curses. Hey, so with that, I hope whoever views this is edified. So like it. And until the next video, hey, shalom.